I wanted to do a quick video on how women see themselves and how women see their value. Tommy Lauren put out a video a little while ago where she was complaining that men went for women in their early 20s rather than women that had a better career, more money. And she couldn't understand that. Of course she couldn't understand that because she's looking at it in terms of what women look for in men. Women look for resources, men look for fertility. So there's a kind of self-delusion in women that, and she gets frustrated because she can't understand why men don't find value in her and they find value in something else. But she can't see that. She can't see the mistake that she's making. So she's getting angry with men, that men aren't playing the game in the way that she expects them to play the game. And a big issue that a lot of women have now is that they see their value as being women, in being strong and independent, as if being woman, being this uncompromising woman, is where all their value comes from. And they do that because that's what they're told. That's where you get your value, being a strong, independent woman. And as we know, women in this modern age tend to go for the top 10 to 20% of men. So an awful lot of women are getting into their early 30s and they don't have a relationship or a marriage. They're not settled down in a relationship. And they can't get this top 10 or 20%. And they don't understand it. But here's the problem that they have. If you ask them what they bring to the table, they will say, me. They are the table. They are the prize. If you say, can you cook? Can you clean? Can you keep a good house? They will take that as an insult because it reduces their value as woman, as this strong, independent woman. So then they become frustrated that they can't get that top 10 or 20% of men. The rest are discarded. They want that top 10 to 20% of men. But that top 10 to 20% of men are looking at those women and thinking, what is she bringing to the table? What can she do for me? And they don't want that. She just brings herself. That means nothing to men. She brings herself. She's just her. She expects you to bring things to the table. After all, she's looking for the top 10 to 20%. She's looking for income, height, all sorts of different things that he has to bring to the table. But the one thing that she has to bring to the table is herself. And that, in my opinion, is why you see a lot of frustration in women in their early 30s. They're competing with women in their early 20s, and they don't understand why these men won't take them, or they won't take you because you're past your peak fertility. And the further a woman gets away from her peak fertility, the more she has to work, the more compromises she needs to make. A 23-year-old woman just has to be a 23-year-old woman, but a 30-year-old woman has to work harder for that interest. She's competing with men around her own age for those 23-year-olds. But she's also looking at it from the perspective of, I'm here. I am woman, I am the prize, why don't you want me? And what they tend to do then is they will blame men. How many times have you heard the phrase, men can't deal with a strong, empowered woman? Men are too weak. It's female shaming tactics. It's a female shaming technique. It's questioning your manhood, your virility. But they never question what they've been told by other women, by feminists. Feminists have said, you just have to be a woman and you deserve whatever you want. You deserve it just by virtue of being woman, and especially being a strong, empowered woman. You deserve whatever you want. See how they look down on housewives, a woman that stays at home and raises a family. To them, to a feminist, she is a lower quality woman. She has compromised on her womanhood, for want of a better word. So that's the apex. That's the ideal for feminists, that a woman is strong, empowered, she doesn't need a man, all that sort of thing. Any compromises that she makes weakens her in their mind. And that's the message that goes into young women. Young women are being told that they have to be strong, independent, empowered, make no compromises. If a man has a requirement from you, then that's demeaning you. If a man says, I want a wife that will cook or clean, he's demeaning women. He's lowering their value. So the more strong, the more independent, the less she compromises, the higher value she becomes. Which by definition, that makes her less attractive to the top 10 to 20% of men, on men in general. Now, if you're below that top 10 to 20%, then you may be willing to put up with that. But those women aren't going to settle for that 80% of men anyway, because they, quote unquote, deserve more. So that's the position that feminism has boxed women into. They've said that you are perfect when you're strong and empowered and you don't compromise, and that any man that doesn't want you is weak. But that's just a losing strategy. That's a losing strategy for women, and it's a losing strategy for society.